Hey everyone, we're going to do a quick review today of area and perimeter. So these are all things that you probably learned last year in third grade. And so again, this should be a review and not, the first time you're learning about area and perimeter. So real fast, we're just going to quickly review the definitions. And so I have several shapes here, and a big idea is, understanding that area and perimeter does not just apply to rectangles. Okay, it applies to all shapes. So squares have area and perimeter, triangles can have area and perimeter, even octagons and hexagons and circles even have area and perimeter as well. And so the area is the amount of space inside of a closed shape. Okay, and we always measure it in square units. And so the green area here is the area. And then perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape, or it is also the sum of the length of all the sides. So the blue line going around this rectangle here is the perimeter. And if we wanted to find it, we would just simply add the length of each of these sides here. And it says around a 2D shape. Two-dimensional just means there is only length and width. There's no, it's flat pretty much. I believe next year in third grade is when you're introduced to 3D shapes, so they have another dimension of depth. So this year, fourth grade, we really just talk about two-dimensional shapes with length and width. So real fast, again, just to review formulas that we use to help us solve area and perimeter. So to find perimeter, you add the length, and then you add the two widths, okay? And so depending on the shape, it really, honestly, some people might say this is the length, some people might say this is the width. It really doesn't matter as long as you have the opposite sides representing the same amount, okay? And so length plus width is how you would find perimeter. And then the area of a figure uses the formula length times width. So length times the width. So we're going to just practice, again, review how to use these formulas to find the area and perimeter of this rectangle here. Okay, so remember, perimeter is length plus width plus width. And so if I know that this side is 12, I know that this side is also going to be 12 feet. Okay, and then if I know, sorry, that looks like a P. And then I know if this side over here is 3, that this side will also be 3 feet. And so the perimeter would just be the sum of all of these lengths. So 3 plus 3 is 6. I'm just going to do some quick figuring over here. 12 plus 12 is 24. Okay, and if I add 24 plus 6, I get 30. So my perimeter, or the length around my rectangle, is going to be 30 feet. Okay. And now the area, super easy, just multiplying the length times the width. So area would be 3 times 12, which would give me 36. Perfect. And remember, we said that area is always measured in square units. So you could write this a couple different ways. You could say square feet. You could abbreviate it as SQ. Okay, for square, and then FT for feet. Or another way is you can actually put the abbreviation for feet, FT, with a little 2 at the top. This is an exponent that, again, really is a 5th grade standard, but an exponent just meaning you're multiplying it by itself whenever it's a 2 for squared. And so this just means that we've multiplied feet by feet. So either way can represent square feet. All right, so how can we use our knowledge of these formulas and the properties of shapes to help us find some missing sides? So I have a rectangle here. However, I'm missing one of the measurements. Okay, I have a width here of 3 inches, and so if this ever happens, though, they will give you some sort of measurement, either the area or the perimeter, and you're expected to use that information in order to help you figure out the missing side. So if the area is 30, what would the missing length be? So this is where we can use algebraic thinking to help us out. So let's set up an equation using our area formula, okay? So we know that area is length times width, okay? So length times width. They gave me my area, okay, which is 30. So I'm going to replace area with the number 30. And I already know my width is 3. So I'm going to replace my width with 3. So the only thing I am missing is the length. So again, you know, thinking algebraically, what would the missing number be? What times 3 would give me 30? Or another way you could think about this is 30 divided by 3. So what would our missing number be? Right, 10, okay? So then this over here would be 10 inches. And I just realized I didn't have my unit here, so I apologize. It would be 30 inches square. But just really trying to focus on how to find the missing length of a side. And here's another way it could be presented. If the perimeter of the rectangle is 24 feet, okay, and one of the sides measures 4 feet, what is the length of the missing side? So again, we have a missing side, they gave us one, and this time though, they only gave us perimeter. So it's not quite the same, you know, we wouldn't solve this quite the same way as area. And this is actually a little bit harder because it's more than just one step. So let's review the formula for perimeter, okay, right? It's the length of all the sides. So length plus width plus width. Okay. So I have my width here is 4. And I know my perimeter is 24 feet. So I'm going to just plug those numbers into my equation, my formula. So if perimeter is 24, I'm going to put 24 over here. That's equal to length plus length, because I still don't know that. Plus, I do know my width though. So 4 plus 4. Okay, and I can kind of, you know, go through and I can make this a little bit easier. I'm going to go ahead and add the 4 and the 4. So 24 equals length plus 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, so now I'm just missing these two numbers. Now the property of rectangle, or sorry, the property of a rectangle, yeah, I think I said that right, is that the opposite sides are the same length. Okay, and we already know this. So I know that, you know, that's how I got my other 4. I knew that this was already going to be 4 feet because it's the opposite side. And I know that these are going to be the same length as well because they're opposite sides. So really, I'm trying to think about, you know, what number can I multiply by 2? Okay, and if I add 8 to it, well, I get 24. So in other words, let me see what the difference is between 24 and 8. Okay, so 24 minus 8, okay, it's going to leave me with 16. All right, and so that means that L plus L, or these two sides together, have to equal 16. So I know that L plus L has to equal 16 feet. So in other words, you could think about this as what number is, if I double a number, do I get 16? Or what is 16 divided by 2? Because remember, dividing by 2 is, you know, the opposite of doubling. So if you remember, okay, 16 divided by 2 then would be 8. Okay, so now if I plug in 8 over here, 8 feet and 8 feet, okay. Now I'm just gonna to double, you know, make sure I'm gonna check and make sure that these numbers do all add up to equal 24. So let's go ahead and plug in 8. So let's see, so 24 is our perimeter. So let's see if 8 plus 8 plus 4 plus 4 equals 24, okay? Well, I already know that 4 plus 4 is 8, so let's go ahead and just add those numbers together. So I know 4 plus 4 is 8, and I know 8 plus 8 is 16, okay? And then 16 plus 8, okay? If you need to do a little scratch work over on the side, go ahead. Okay, it does equal 24. So knowing that opposite sides are equal can help you with finding the missing side in an area or perimeter equation. And we're going to look at one more problem real fast. So those are rectangles, but what about squares? Okay, what's so special about a square? Well, if you remember, you should remember that squares all have equal length. So technically squares are rectangles. They're just special in the fact that, all sides are the same. So you're only going to be given one measurement for this square here. And then I, am confident that based off of just this one measurement, you can find the area and the perimeter. So go ahead and pause the video real fast and see if you can figure out the area and perimeter of this 3-inch square. Okay, so let's see what you got. So again, the special property about squares is that every single side is the same. So I know that each of these is 3 inches in length. And because I know that, now I can figure out area and perimeter pretty easily. So remember, area is length times width. So 3 times 3, or 3 inches times 3 inches, I'm sorry. So that would be 9 inches squared for the area. And then perimeter would be the sum of all the lengths. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. And if you kind of figured it out, you can do a little cheat here. You can just do 3 times 4. So that would be 12 inches for that. All right, guys. So like I said before, this is really just a review on how to find area and perimeter of rectangles, and also how to find the length of missing sides. And so your assignment for today is to complete a paper, a worksheet called Secrets of the Rectangle. Again, just a quick review. And tomorrow we're going to dive into combined rectangles. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.